Hi, I'm Sheriff Dave Phelan.
And I'm Mandy Miller with Fairfield Christian Church.
And we would like to invite you to a very special program coming to Fairfield Christian Church, 1965 North Columbus Street, The Gospel According to Scrooge.
Please join us on December 7th, 8th, and 9th at 7 p.m. with a matinee on Sunday at 3 p.m. We would love to have you.
For more information, just contact the church at
654-0099 and you can ask for Scrooge.
Welcome to this edition of Lancaster Perspective. I'm Mike Miller. My special guest today is the Marketing Director for Fairfield County Visitors Convention Bureau, Kathy LeVeck.
Good.
How you doing?
I'm doing wonderfully well. How about you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
I'm doing well. My knee's in good shape.
I'm glad to hear about that.
I'm doing well, and I know your husband's talking about having a knee replacement.
Yeah.
So, it's fine. Believe me, I should have done it 10 years ago.
And now you're happy you did. You're a month or so into recovery, and you're doing well, and you're ready to do a 5K probably in a month. We'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that later on. But Visitors and Convention Bureau has been around some time. Let's talk a little bit about it. I know there are some people new to the community and are not sure all the activities and what the mission statement is and all that.
Well, Fairfield County Visitors and Convention Bureau, our mission statement is to promote the county in regards to tourism. So that's a big part of what we're all about. And we're also about getting people to come and stay overnight in Fairfield County and use the hotels and motels that are here. Because, Mike, that's how the Fairfield County Visitors Convention Bureau actually receives its funding, is through the bed tax. That's something that is not charged to the locals in any way. We don't get our funding from anybody in the county that's residents, unless they stay over in a hotel or a motel. There's a certain amount of taxing that is put on each night's stay, and then we get a percentage, about a 3%, depending on where it comes from in a county or the city.
Now, how do they arrive at 3%? Is that, do you guys determine that?
No,
the commissioners determine that?
It's not something that we locally, the Visitors Bureau itself here in Fairfield County determines. So that's something that I think is done maybe locally, if the commissioners. I'm not really sure about that. But I do know that that's how we're funded. So our whole idea is to promote tourism. And again, we want to let the people know who reside in Fairfield County all the cool things there are to see and do in Fairfield County, because I always say you can't be bored in Fairfield County unless you want to be bored in Fairfield County. But with that, we really are targeting anywhere from 75 miles and out from Fairfield County to bring visitors in. So I think that gives you a quick synopsis about what the Fairfield County's mission is for the Visitors Bureau.
One of the questions that I was asked for today's show was, there's buses that come through. How do you get on the bus stop? How did you have to write people, call people and say, gee, we'd like to be on this? How does that work?
Sure. We call them motor coach tours. And sometimes it happens that they contact the Visitors Bureau. Sometimes it happens they contact the individual opportunities, like the Ohio Glass Museum, the Decorative Arts Center, the Georgian, the Sherman, anything like that, the Fairfield Heritage Historical Parks, that type of thing, and say to them, hey, we're thinking about coming to this part of the country, and we also want to come into the county and see this. We, as the Visitors Bureau, also market to the motor coach operators and to the people who would actually set up these opportunities to come in. So it's many different ways it's handled, but that is part of our job.
Website, phone number, if people are interested, they call you directly? Or
Sure. They can do visit fairfieldcounty.org, which is our website, and it's got a lot of good stuff on it, which you're going to hear about here in a little bit. Our phone number, if you're locally, of course, is 740-654-5929, and if you're out of the area, it's 800-626-1296. And we're located at 124 West Main Street. We're in the heart of our historic downtown Lancaster. We're on the second floor of the Ohio Glass Museum building. So a lot of people know that who live in our area as a landmark.
Now, how long have you been with the Visitors Convention Bureau?
I have been there probably 14 years. I took a little break. I was at the Chamber and the Visitors Bureau, and then when the Visitors Bureau moved from the Chamber of Commerce, which was also downtown Lancaster, they went over to where the Ohio Glass Museum building is now, and they weren't able to take me over there at that moment financially. But later, I was able to come back on part-time and then full-time as their marketing director.
Oh, that's great. I didn't realize it was 14 years. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I've been here at the location that I'm as director since 2007.
Wow.
So it's been fun. And may I tell a little story about you?
Oh, sure.
Is
Go
it
ahead.
okay if I do that?
Yeah, I thought this was going to be about JT, but that's okay.
Yeah, no, we'll talk about Mike Miller if we may. I'm only
Sure.
asking.
Okay.
Got your permission?
Yeah, sure.
It's not too terribly embarrassing.
I hope not.
As I mentioned earlier, I was working at the Chamber of Commerce and the Visitors Convention Bureau. Chamber of Commerce is always a hub of activity. Lots of great things happen there, still do today. A lot of important decisions, big meetings. People come from the government part of our county. And so Mike was part of your job. It was always to come in and talk with people and, jobs and family services, anything we can do to help out, etc. So one day in particular, you decided to come in. I don't even know that it was Christmas. Maybe it was Christmas season. You walk in the front door of the Chamber of Commerce and you let go with this big Christmas song, just bellowing out this Christmas song that anybody that was in the complex could have heard, and no doubt did. But little did Mike know that in the conference room were a lot of the bigwigs in the county having a very important meeting. And when he realized that, his face went red, and needless to say, that has been a song that we think of often, Mike. Thank you for that
I
moment.
do remember that.
Do you remember
yeah,
that?
I think I'm still apologizing to people for that.
A lot of people out there that you knew,
yeah.
they really thought something terribly was wrong in our
Yeah,
office.
It was
It was Mike Miller.
Yeah, they thought somebody was sick out of the lobby. But okay, well, that's not too bad. I don't
No.
feel bad about that.
Yeah, I wouldn't do anything that would be too bad.
Again, we're talking with Kathy LeVeck, the marketing director for the Fairfield County Visitors Convention Bureau. I know there are a lot of activities going on throughout the year. December, there's even more going on.
True.
Is everything listed on the website?
It is. What I brought today for us to look at is just a snippet, and that's December, the month of December's calendar of events. And we're going to run down through these real quickly in a little bit because we want people to know there's so much going on. December is a great month for activities as well. July is another great month, June as well. You can go on our website, and on the home page, it's visitfairfieldcounty.org, you're going to find our calendar of events under the events, and you'll click on that and you'll have the whole year. Mike, we won't be going live with the 2013 events until January the 1st, but right now you'll get a good flavor of what's going on. So shall we talk about a couple of these things? Can I put on my glasses?
Sure,
I see you already have yours
You've got
on.
quite a few things here that are coming up.
We do. One of the things, the Decorative Arts Center, and I'm certain you probably had a chance to be there, it's the old Reese Peters home. It's beautiful. It's in downtown Lancaster again. They have changing exhibits going on, and the one that's there now is called 2 Centuries of Editorial Cartoons. And in part of it, Richard Outcault, I'm assuming you've heard of Richard, have you? He is the one who did really cartoons was born, and he was right here in Lancaster when this all came about. And he did the Yellow Kid, Buster Brown, and they have taken a lot of his information and put it in an exhibit, along with Jeff Stoller, who's now somebody that's working in that same industry, the cartoon side of life, and they put these two together, and they're showing 2 centuries, 100 years apart, and it's really cool. Again, that's just one activity, and that goes on through the end of December. Something else is the Village of Bremen Holiday Exhibit. They have a historical driving tour. I don't know if you had a chance to get down
I
yet.
have seen the figures.
Yes.
I haven't been through, but I saw the figures at a Bremen Chamber meeting.
And the thing about it is, and you mentioned that the Chamber of Commerce in Bremen has put this all together. Connie Moyer and all of those have worked so hard on it. It is figures, historical figures of people that were in the Bremen area, and you can go through a driving tour and hear all these cool things about the history and see these people as they were at that time as far as their period costume. It's really cool.
Really neat, really authentic.
One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask if we can't get you in there next year as a historical figure. And what would you want to look
old,
like?
Yeah.
What would you want to be doing here?
Oh, boy, I don't know. That would be interesting.
Okay.
I'd have to think about that.
Would you let me know at the end of the show?
I will.
We'll announce it here.
That would be good.
Okay. So that's going on, and again, there's no charge. So many of the things we talk about, there's no charge, Mike, and we really appreciate being able to give that out in
Right.
today's
Oh, sure.
economy.
Absolutely.
Again, everything we're talking about, you're going to hear about by going on visitfairfieldcounty.org or giving us a call at the office. Ohio Glass Museum has their ongoing exhibit, Opposites Attract, glass in black and white, really cool thing. That's going on for the next several months. Downtown Lancaster Christmas tree lighting, that's actually happening December the 1st. And it's going to be the second annual, and it's downtown Lancaster.
Right.
Santa's going to be there. They're going to have hot chocolate and cookies, and then they'll press the button and the lights will come on, what we think is the largest Christmas tree they've ever brought in
Donated
downtown.
by Markwood family.
You bet. Travis Markwood, Chamber of Commerce here in Lancaster, Fairfield County. So that's going to be happening. Again, it's another free event. Something else is a Christmas Carol, and that's happening the same day, December the 1st. That's going on all day from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., and it's going to be a community holiday celebration and carol. They're going to start off with something you would probably enjoy, which is a pancake breakfast. They'll have a tree lighting, toy drive, wagons, drives. Santa's going to be there. Again, it's happening in the village of Carroll, and it's all day long, and it's going to be fun. So, I mean, it's just cool.
Right. And when you go to the website, the Visitors Convention Bureau website, they have all the information about this website, the email addresses, contact, all the information is there.
It's all there, and what's really cool too is that we have, if there's a website available, which in 90% of the activities there are, you can just link right to their site and go right onto the site of the activity we're talking about and get additional information if you need it. We're very user-friendly, and we try to
Absolutely.
be that way. Come to the Lancaster Men's Course Christmas concert. You know, we've got a lot of Christmas things coming on. December the 2nd, First United Methodist Church, and that starts at 3 p.m. We also have, do you sing, by the way?
Not very well.
I learned that. December the 2nd is the afternoon tea to be hosted by the Vintage Elves. And that is held by the Fairfield Heritage Association as a fundraiser, and it's held at the Georgian. So I would suggest that as soon as you can, if you're interested, you give them a call. You can call them at 654-9923 to see if there are any tickets available. It's enjoy an endless tea and a 3-course menu, and the reservations are required.
Fantastic. There's a lot of stuff going on at Christmas time, and they always have food, which is good.
It is
Which
good.
is a good thing.
Why is that, do you think?
I don't know, but whoever, let's go. I'm
I
ready.
think it's America in
Yeah,
general.
Exactly, yeah.
We got to have food.
Exactly. December 7th through the 8th, Lancaster Campgrounds, the 12th annual Christmas Walk and Dinner coming up.
It is a wonderful activity. The walk itself through the campground is no charge, it's free. You have an opportunity to go through some of the selected cottages that will be open for you to view. Then while you're doing that, there'll be a little entertainment going on, sometimes in the individual
Right.
cottages. But also they have a really nice dinner, and talk about great cooks. You can make a reservation for dinner there as well for that night, and there'll be an opportunity to look at the gift shop and look at some of their handmade items as well as baked goods. So that's going on.
Is it difficult, because it is Fairfield County, and I know as we go through here, there's things in Pickerington, Lancaster,
Yes.
Sugar Grove, Bremen, Carroll. Is it sometimes hard to get everything in? I mean, is that?
Yeah, it comes to light really now because we're working on the 2013 calendar events. So we're really getting into touch with a lot of people, making a lot of contacts, and things change. So it's a big part of what we do at this time of the year so that we can have this ready. But we really enjoy promoting the entire county. That's our mission. And we look for things that are there that maybe people don't realize they're there that would be interesting to a tourist.
Right.
And so we try to talk and communicate with the different villages and the different cities in Lancaster to let them know that that's happening in Fairfield County. So you're right, there's a lot that does happen like that.
Back on December 7th,
Yes.
Old Pickerington Village, Old Village Holidays coming up.
Oh yeah, that's always fun. We've gone to it many years, and it's in the old part of the village itself. And you know, when you go to a village, it's very quaint and nice, and you get away from the hubbub of everything going on. But they have free carriage rides, they have strolling carolers, there's free kids activities, photos with Santa, and they'll too have a Pickerington City tree lighting at 7 p.m. as well.
December 8th, Downtown Lancaster Winter Carnival coming up.
Ah, yeah, that is
Carriage
cool.
rides.
Carriage rides. That is fun. I always do those at least once, if not twice, while I'm down there. They have that. It's part of Destination Downtown Lancaster, a way of getting people to come into the downtown area to shop and to learn what's there as far as restaurants and businesses. But it's fun. It's kids' activities. There'll be over 30 trees that are decorated by the local businesses. You can do cookie decorating. There's going to be hot cider crafts, pictures with Santa, all these kind of things going on. And now that's from 12 to 4, and
Right.
again, that's December the 8th.
And then that night is the candlelight tour of the historic churches in downtown.
Sure. Have you had a chance to go on that?
I have not done that. Have you
have
done
not done that. I have many times, haven't for a couple of years,
Yeah.
but Mike and I are going to do it this coming Saturday, the 8th. And again, it's in various locations downtown. It centers on 8 of the historical churches, and they are so beautifully decorated at this time. And again, it's a fundraiser for the Fairfield Heritage Association, so it helps to keep the Georgian and Sherman House Museum alive.
Right.
And we always want to keep those doors open for the public to come in. So there's going to be a guided walking tour along the sidewalks lined with candles, and there'll be music and decorations and some kind of entertainment, and sometimes cookies along the way.
Oh, that's
if
good.
that makes
That's
you
a good-
happy.
yeah, that's a good
and
thing.
it's a fun thing to do. Again, you can call 654-9923 or get a hold of visit fairfieldcounty.org, our calendar of events on our line website, and go to it directly.
And December 9th, there's free entertainment, Lancaster Community Band Holiday Concert.
Right. They'll be at Faith Memorial on that day, and it'll be at 2 p.m. And Matt Haben is a gentleman who always puts that together, and it's a wonderful opportunity. And then we're just going to go the same day, but in the evening on the 9th of December is Silent Night in Sugar Grove, and you'll experience Christmas in a quaint village. There'll be local churches that have special music or readings. It begins at St. Joseph's, and we've gone on this before, and it's been beautiful. It snowed the night we went, and you walk from place to place, and then you end up at a church where they again have cookies and hot cider and refreshments. So it's fun. Again, there's no charge. It's free.
Wow, that's neat. And then on December 13th through the 15th, we have Santa and the Friends at Alley Park.
And you know what? They have little elves out there. I was just thinking.
No, I know.
I know you're a little taller than the norm,
yeah.
but you have the personality that. Can you volunteer for us here?
We'll never know what'll happen.
Okay, we'll see
Yeah,
what
you never
happens.
know.
I'll let Steve Conrad know that you're interested
sure.
in becoming an elf. December 13th through the 15th is Santa and Friends at Alley Park, like you mentioned. It's from 6 to 8 p.m., and it's a winter wonderland there. It's simply gorgeous. Lake Loretta has lights over the lake itself. The actual nature center is decorated in lights. There's a huge Christmas tree inside the nature center, and that's where you're going to meet Santa and his wife, Mrs. Claus, and the elves, and they'll have a really neat story to tell you.
Sounds neat.
And there'll
Sounds
be
like a lot of fun.
bonfires going, and it's just a really cool
I always
thing.
liked Alley Park. It's a nice
Yeah,
place. It's
it
a
is.
nice place to be. And then we wrap up on the 15th. Bremen's Lighted Christmas Parade is downtown at 5:30.
Now, this is one I haven't been to. I've tried a couple of years, but things got in the way. It's the only lighted Christmas parade in Fairfield County. So that in itself says everything. I
Right.
mean, if you haven't experienced a lighted Christmas parade, this would be where you would want to go when you come to Fairfield County for Christmas. And it's going to be again on the 15th, as you've mentioned. It'll be at 5:30 in the downtown location. When we talk about our villages, they're not that hard to find the locations because they're so small. But, you know, the entity there is right in the heart of it. And Fairfield County is, as we said, the only night parade. And following the parade, enjoy cider and donuts and entertainment by the Bremen elementary students. And again, there is no charge for this.
There's just a lot of activities that are going on, and there's so many. We talked earlier about being bored in Fairfield County, and there's so many things that can be done, and there's so many things that people can do. What's the biggest challenge that you face in being involved as a marketing director for the Convention Bureau?
Well, since our mission is to bring tourism into Fairfield County, and since our funding comes from hotel motel, it's getting groups to come in that will stay overnight, or getting the American Legion baseball tournament to relocate to Lancaster, which they did.
Right.
We're on our 3rd year. They come in and they take a block of hotel rooms for a week at a time. So we have that opportunity. It's getting motor coach tours to come in. Now, with us, the motor coach tours usually don't stay in overnight, but we would like to be able to make it into that. So I guess The everyday tourism is pretty easy because we're rich in history and we have lots to offer.
Right.
We have 18 original covered bridges, Mike, and that's the most in the state,
Yeah.
in the county, in any of us in the county in Ohio. So there's
Right.
no other county that has more original than we do.
Right.
That's a big draw. When Rock Mill opens, we're counting on that bringing in
Right.
more tourism. But
That's amazing. That
think,
really is.
Yeah, I think our challenge is mostly getting people to stay overnight in our
Now,
area.
one of the concerns that I know people have, just in general, talking about the number of rooms in Fairfield County. Are we average? Are we below average? Do we need more hotel rooms?
We have almost total we have like 700 or 696 motel rooms in Fairfield County. Before the Lancaster Inn closed, there was another 160. That really hurt when they closed because Lancaster Inn also provided a restaurant in-house. They had large breakout rooms where you could have conferences in and meetings, and that sort of went by the wayside, and that was really important to the Visitors Bureau side of making things happen. So we were a bit disappointed. I think we're probably, for a community our size, we're probably average, but we would like to have more, and possibly with the growth more in the northern part of the county, we may have more motels coming in.
What's I guess maybe the strangest question you've ever gotten from somebody coming through? Like, what is Lancaster? Where is Lancaster? Or do you have this? Do you have that?
Yeah, I think, again, from the Visitors Bureau side, one thing I had was somebody that wanted to come into the area and buy ostrich meat. And
ostrich.
Yeah, and ostrich meat. And they weren't from here, but they had heard that there was ostrich meat in Fairfield County that could be purchased. Well, I had never heard of that. And so I'm first thinking, is this Mike Miller on the other end of the phone? And that was my first thought. But then I realized it was a woman, so I thought, no, it's not you. But we had to track it down, and lo and behold, there was ostrich meat for sale in Fairfield County, not terribly far from Lancaster. That was one thing that sticks out in my mind.
Wow.
So there's just little quirks like that
Sure.
that people want to come in, and while they're here, they're going to visit, but that was a primary.
Right. Now, do you get together with the village representatives, or you, like each one, and say, what's going on? Tell us what's happening here. Do you ever get involved with other areas and say, well, gee, they're having a whatever type of festival, and say, gee, we ought to try that. Where could we do that? I mean,
Sure.
is that a monthly meeting, or is that just as needed?
We have something called the Lancaster Arts and Museums Committee, specifically, that comes to my mind. And they get together, and they are representatives from all the museums within Lancaster, and they talk and say, how can we make things better? What can we do? We discussed do an Experience Lancaster where you can come to the Sherman House and have General Sherman meeting you there, if it's a motor coach tour or a large group of 20 or
Right.
more. So that was something we wanted to offer. You can go to the Georgian, and Mrs. McCracken,
Right.
the first owner of the home, can be there at the front door welcoming you in, and you can have on the lawn cookies and
Right.
lemonade. Well, those are the kind of things that came from these type of strategic meetings, easy for me to say. Fairfield County Civil War 150 Alliance, we're working with that, and I chair that. And it's part the Visitors Convention Bureau's job to do similar things like that, not always chair things, but get the word out there. This committee is made up of members from all over the county, and after we're finished with this 150 Alliance and the Civil War commemoration, then they want to still stay together because of those very things that
Right.
happen. So you're right, good point.
Well, that's it's just interesting. I know historical parks. Fairfield Historical Parks has been,
Wonderful.
Dave Fay, bless his heart, he just was able to go through but they play an important role in Fairfield County.
They do. They own 5 of the 18 covered bridges that we talked about, and one of the premier would be the Rock Mill covered bridge. Many local
Right,
people know
right.
about Rock Mill. Dave was the trooper who hung in there when anybody else probably would have left a director position of a historical parks. But he stayed with it, and now the levy passed, and all these great things are happening as we speak. And so we do see what the park has to offer, the historical parks, to be very beneficial to the promotion of what we have to see and do in Fairfield County, and it's only going to get bigger and better.
Absolutely. How hard is it to get a sporting event to come? You mentioned American Legion baseball
Right.
tournament. How hard is it to get those type of events in?
Well,
Because you're competing, I'm assuming, with other cities our size.
Yes, we are. I got to admit, one thing that helped in this sporting event as far as baseball concerned was Al Beaver's field. State-of-the-art field for a community of our size. He is well known throughout the baseball world in the state. And when the American Legion had decided that they might want to consider another move after being someplace for maybe 40 years or 45 years, it was time to make another move. They had several places in mind, and of course one was Lancaster and Fairfield County. And again, I think Al Beavers was a big part of that. The mayor stepped up.
Sure.
They called us and they said, here's what's happening. Can we all work together and get this here? And we did. We all worked together as a group, and we brought it in, and it's been wonderful. And Jerry White, who's the director of the American Legion Youth Sports, has nothing to say but wonderful things about Lancaster and Fairfield County and the people that are here and what's happening. So it's contacts, it's having what they already need here. You know, so we probably couldn't do some things because we don't have the facilities that they need. But if we can, we'll do it.
Now, and again, as the marketing director,
Yes.
Is there something that you would like to see? Oh, boy, gee, if we could just do this and make this happen, what would you like to see happen here in Fairfield County that you haven't maybe just haven't had
a chance to get us come together? As I mentioned earlier, Mike, we're really known for our history. We don't have Kings Island or Cedar Point, and we don't have some of the large indoor water parks. So we rely on what we do have. It's already here, and it's our history. I see some areas that if we could pull them in, we could make a larger history tour. At the Lancaster, at the fairgrounds, they have a lot of historical buildings on their property. And that is one area that we've looked at several times, wishing that maybe we could get them to incorporate. And they definitely have interest in doing that. It's a volunteer-driven power problem. Volunteers are very essential to do so many of the things that we want to do. So I'd like to see us be able to bring that on and maybe have some more opportunities to promote the history by adding more history to it. So that's one of the things I could think of right away, that I'd like to just add more history. It has to exist in order to be history.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so we just have to maybe find something that we really didn't realize was there and bring it together. That's why the Historical Parks is going to play a big part in helping us promote some of these opportunities. Smeck Farm is going to be a working village.
That was the one thing that Dave Fay talked about that. And actually, I went up to do a show with Dave Fay years ago, and he was talking about the blacksmith shop and having all these people, and he envisioned all of it. And I always thought that was a neat idea.
And that will happen. That will happen. Kelly Messerly, who works with the Historical Parks now, great lady. We went up to Smeck Farm again the other day just to look. She's got this idea. She wants to make families involved in the historical parks and be able to see what they are paying for through the levy. And one of the things she's going to do is like a kite flying activity. It's going to be so cool. And so she asked if I'd come up and look at the site to, because I've done something similar to this before. And that's another thing that, I've had an opportunity to work with a lot of people. And if they call upon me and they say, can I pick your brain? Can you come and meet with me? I would be the first one there to meet with them and help them to understand maybe what they need to do that they're not doing. But so many times they're doing it so well, they hardly need anything.
We're talking with Kathy LeVeck, the marketing director for Fairfield County Visitors Convention Bureau. We just have a few minutes left, Kathy.
Sure.
And again, you've been in this 14 years. I just didn't realize that. I know as Lancaster grows and Fairfield, which I believe is the fourth fastest growing county in the state now, and we've talked a little bit about futures and things like that. To do all this, I know your staff is limited. You have a lot of volunteers that work. If somebody wanted to become involved, come to you, call, what's the easiest thing to do?
Well, actually, that's interesting because we were just talking about that this morning. We have volunteers who help, when we have huge mailings, which is part of the way of getting our word out, is by a travel guide, which we have. And that travel guide can be picked up at our site at 124 West Main Street, our office, or we can mail it to you if you're out of the area and can't get down. And also, just to let you know, you can see that travel guide online and flip the pages, so I wanted to get that in. But we would probably, I don't know, I've lost my train of thought. The train took off without me.
Well, it's talking about volunteers.
Yeah, the volunteer aspect. We would probably not really have a real big need for volunteers other than sporadically when we would call on them. We do have a volunteer list for that.
Oh, okay.
Now, where people need volunteers is more so for the museums, the Ohio Glass Museum is always looking for volunteers. But as far as we're concerned, you mentioned we're 2 staff, and you think, maybe they would need some help. But so much of ours is hands-on.
Right.
You got to answer the question right
Yeah.
there. You got to greet the
Right.
visitor and tell them everything that's going on in Fairfield County at that moment. We might not have a volunteer there to do that. We have to maintain the website. You have to make changes. So our job's a little bit different. But we know we were talking about that today. So maybe God's saying, get volunteers in there.
Get
Get
volunteers,
interns
get some
in
more
there.
volunteers.
That's
there.
right.
I'm sure we get some of the crew to volunteer.
Oh, the crew, that would be cool.
They would love to do it.
Wouldn't they be fun?
Absolutely.
I would be probably afraid by the end of the day to see what would have happened, but that's okay. We'll take it.
Well, Kathy, we appreciate you coming in today. I know you have a busy schedule and all the stuff that goes on, and wish you the best holiday time, Merry Christmas, and we'll get you back on, in the spring and see how things are going.
We would love to do that.
Give some things. Again, we do appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks for tuning in and listening to today's show of Lancaster Perspective. And again, until we meet again, let's make a difference.
Hi, I'm Sheriff Dave Phelan,
And I'm Mandy Miller with Fairfield Christian Church.
and we would like to invite you to a very special program coming to Fairfield Christian Church, 1965 North Columbus Street, The Gospel According to Scrooge.
Please join us on December 7th, 8th, and 9th at 7 p.m. with a matinee on Sunday at 3 p.m. We would love to have you.
For more information, just contact the church at
654-0099, and you can ask for Scrooge.